If you are over 60, and you think walking is the best exercise you can do for your body, I want you to pause for just one moment and really listen to what I am about to share with you. Because what you are about to hear might completely change the way you think about your health, your strength, your energy, and even how long you live. For years, we were told that walking is the safest, smartest, and most effective way to stay active as we age. And while walking is still good, new research and real-world proof now show that there is one simple exercise that is even better than walking for people over 60. And most seniors are not doing it at all. The shocking truth is that this one movement can rebuild your muscles, protect your joints, improve your balance, strengthen your heart, sharpen your brain, and dramatically reduce your risk of falls, disability, and even early death. And the best part is, you don't need a gym, you don't need expensive equipment, and you don't need to be fit already to start. You just need a few minutes a day and the right guidance. But there is also a second piece to this puzzle, something that happens inside your muscles at the cellular level, that almost no senior is doing. And today, I'm going to give you both pieces. Together, they form the most complete picture of strength and independence for people over 60 that I have ever shared on this channel. Now let me ask you something honestly. Do you ever feel like no matter how much you walk, your legs still feel weak, your balance still feels shaky, and your stamina just isn't what it used to be? You are not alone. Millions of seniors walk every day and still struggle with muscle loss, poor posture, joint pain, and fatigue. The reason is actually simple when you understand the science. Walking is a forward motion activity. It mainly works the same limited group of muscles over and over again. And it does very little to stop age-related muscle loss, the condition scientists call sarcopenia. After the age of 60, we lose muscle faster than we can rebuild it if we do not actively challenge our body. And muscle is not just about looking strong. Muscle is life. Muscle protects your joints. Muscle keeps your blood sugar stable. Muscle supports your bones. Muscle allows you to move, react, and live independently. Here is something that most people never realize. The biggest predictor of whether you will live independently in your 70s, 80s, and beyond is not how much you weigh. It is not your cholesterol. And it is not even how many steps you take per day. It is how strong your legs are, how stable your balance is, and how quickly you can move from sitting to standing. That single ability is one of the most powerful biomarkers of your biological age. But here is the other side of this that even fewer people discuss. Your muscles do not work on movement alone. They need fuel at the cellular level. And after 60, that cellular fuel begins to run low. Your muscles start losing their ability to generate energy quickly, to recover between efforts, and to respond to the signals that tell them to grow and stay strong. This is not just about exercise. This is about what is happening inside every single muscle cell in your body. And that is exactly why today I want to talk about both. The best exercise for seniors over 60, and the most important thing you can do to support your muscles at the cellular level so that exercise actually works the way it is supposed to. Welcome, my friend. If you are new here, this is Dr. Wells, and this channel is your home for real, simple, science-backed health and fitness tips for strong, energetic, and independent living after 50 and beyond. If you are returning, I am truly grateful to have you back. Please watch this video all the way to the end, because everything I share builds on the last, and I promise you, what is coming will be worth every minute. That brings us to the one exercise that is better than walking for people over 60. And that exercise is the simple, powerful, and incredibly life-changing movement known as the chair squat. Yes. Standing up and sitting down from a chair, done the right way, is one of the most powerful exercises for seniors on the planet. It may look simple, but it activates the largest muscle groups in your body, your thighs, your hips, your glutes, your core, and your lower back. These are the exact same muscles you need for walking, climbing stairs, getting out of bed, carrying groceries, and preventing falls. Unlike walking, which becomes easier over time, chair squats continue to challenge your body in a safe, controlled way that actually builds strength rather than just maintaining movement. Let me paint a picture for you. Every time you stand up from a chair, you are lifting almost your entire body weight against gravity. That is real strength training. Walking, on the other hand, only supports a fraction of your body weight because one foot is always on the ground. This is why someone can walk every day and still struggle to get up from a low chair. It is not because they are lazy. It is because walking alone does not train the muscles in the way daily life truly demands. Now before you worry and think, "I'm too old for this," or "my knees can't handle that," let me reassure you. The chair squat is one of the safest exercises you can do when performed correctly. Physical therapists around the world use it as a foundational movement for rehabilitation, fall prevention, and long-term mobility. You control the depth. You control the speed. And you always have the chair behind you for support. It meets you exactly where your body is right now. Here is how you do it safely. Sit on the edge of a sturdy chair with your feet flat on the floor, about shoulder width apart. Your chest stays tall, your shoulders relaxed, and your eyes looking forward. Gently lean forward just slightly from your hips. Press through your heels and slowly stand up. Do not rush. At the top, stand tall without locking your knees. Then slowly bend your hips and knees and lower yourself back down under control until you gently touch the chair. That is one repetition. If needed, you can place your hands lightly on the armrests for support in the beginning. As you get stronger, cross your arms over your chest to make it more challenging. Studies show that seniors who can perform more sit-to-stand repetitions in 30 seconds live longer, fall less, and maintain more independence than those who cannot. This single movement directly reflects your biological age more accurately than many medical tests. That is how important this exercise truly is. And the benefits do not stop with your legs. When you perform this movement regularly, your heart works harder, your circulation improves, your oxygen delivery increases, and your metabolism becomes more efficient. More stability. More power in your steps. Less fatigue when standing. More confidence in your body. There is also something even more exciting that happens when you challenge your muscles. Your body releases powerful chemicals called myokines, little messengers that travel through your bloodstream and help reduce inflammation, improve insulin sensitivity, support brain health, and even protect against certain chronic diseases. Walking produces some of these benefits. Now I want to talk about something that most like fitness channels trigger a much stronger response. And this is the piece that separates seniors who improve from seniors who plateau. You can do all the right exercises and still feel like you are not getting stronger, still feel like recovery takes too long, still feel like your energy fades after just a few repetitions. And the reason is often not the exercise itself. The reason is what is happening inside your muscle cells before you ever take your first step. Here is the science. When your muscles contract, they use a molecule called ATP, adenosine triphosphate, as their primary energy currency. Every single movement you make, every step, every squat, every time you stand up from a chair, is powered by ATP. But your muscles can only store a small amount of ATP at any given time. When it runs out, you feel tired, your muscles feel heavy, and your performance drops. This is where creatine enters the picture. Creatine is a naturally occurring compound found in your muscle cells. Its job is to help regenerate ATP rapidly so your muscles can keep working, keep contracting, and keep getting stronger during exercise. And this is not theory. That is not a marginal improvement. That is life-changing. And here is the one I find most exciting for people on this channel. Creatine does not just fuel your muscles. It fuels your brain. Your brain needs ATP just as urgently as your muscles do. When creatine levels are adequate, research shows improvements in mental clarity, focus, and resistance to mental fatigue, especially under stress or sleep deprivation. That sharper thinking, that clearer head you want, creatine helps deliver it. Now, I have spent a long time researching creatine options for seniors specifically, and I want to share something with you that genuinely impressed me. Because not all creatine products are equal. And some are frankly a waste of your money. Most creatine gummies on the market have a serious problem. A major investigation found that 8 out of 10 top-selling creatine gummy brands on Amazon actually failed independent lab tests. 3 of those brands had 0 creatine inside the gummy. 0. And 1 brand delivered just 0.5% of its label claim. That means you could be taking a creatine gummy every single day, thinking you are supporting your muscles, and getting almost nothing from it. The reason is heat. When gummies are cooked during manufacturing, the heat breaks creatine down into a useless byproduct called creatinine. Most brands test their ingredients before cooking, not after. So they can claim the creatine was there, before it was destroyed. The brand I want to tell you about today took a completely different approach. It is called FusiForce, made by Wellness Nest. And what makes FusiForce different from everything else I have seen is this: they send every single batch to Eurofins, one of the world's top food safety labs, and they test the creatine content after cooking, not before. Then they publish every lab report publicly. Every batch. Nothing hidden. The result? 99% pure creatine monohydrate. Full 5,000 milligrams, 5 grams, per serving, in just 3 gummies. That is the clinically studied dose your muscles actually need. And they are NSF certified for sport, which means they are independently verified to contain exactly what they say and nothing harmful. But here is where FusiForce goes further than any other creatine gummy I have found. They also include 50 milligrams of standardized Panax ginseng extract, standardized to 10% ginsenosides. No other creatine gummy includes this. Panax ginseng is an adaptogenic herb with hundreds of studies showing it supports sustained energy, reduces fatigue, and enhances cognitive performance. For seniors who want better focus and more endurance in addition to muscle support, this combination is remarkable. The gummies come in individual serving pouches, not a giant sticky jar that clumps up after a few uses. Each pouch stays fresh and portable. Toss them in your gym bag or your purse. No mess, no clumping, no refrigeration needed. They are free of gluten, soy, seed oils, binders, fillers, hormones, casein, whey, and added sugar. And they taste genuinely good: wild blueberry and green apple, with a flavor rated 90% intensity, smooth and refreshing, not medicinal. There is a link in the description below where you can check their published lab reports for yourself. See the actual Eurofins certificates of analysis. And if you decide to try them, they come with a 90-day money-back guarantee. No risk to you at all. I have put the link in the description below. Take a look and see for yourself what verified creatine actually looks like. Now let me tie these two pieces together, because this is where the real magic happens. Here is your simple daily protocol. Take your 3 FusiForce creatine gummies either in the morning or about 30 minutes before your movement session. The creatine begins loading into your muscle cells within minutes and builds up over time with consistent daily use. Within 2 weeks, most people begin to feel the difference: more energy during their reps, less fatigue at the end of a set, and faster recovery between sessions. Then, do your chair squats. Start with what feels safe and comfortable. 5 repetitions is a perfect starting point for many people. 10 is excellent. Do not focus on the number. Focus on the form and the feeling of your muscles working. Here is the breathing technique that makes this exercise even more powerful. As you stand up from the chair, breathe out gently through your mouth. As you lower yourself back down, breathe in through your nose. This pattern stabilizes your core, supports your spine, and keeps your blood pressure balanced during the movement. After 2 to 3 weeks, try these progressions. Instead of sitting down at normal speed, take 3 full seconds to lower yourself. Count, 1, 2, 3. This slow eccentric phase builds muscle significantly faster and trains joint control with perfect safety. Another progression is to pause for 1 full second just above the chair before sitting down. That tiny pause forces your muscles to work harder without adding any impact on your joints. Combine this with your daily walks and you have the most complete senior fitness approach possible. Walking nourishes your heart and your mood. Chair squats build the strength that keeps you upright, independent, and capable. And creatine provides the cellular fuel that makes both of those things work better than they ever could alone. 77% of creatine users in clinical studies experienced measurable improvements in strength, energy, or endurance within just 2 weeks. 70% demonstrated higher training volume. 65% showed reduced fatigue during physical and mental tasks. And 50% showed improved focus under stress or sleep deprivation. Those are extraordinary numbers for something as simple as 3 gummies a day. Now I want to take a moment to speak directly to anyone listening who feels discouraged about their health. Maybe you have tried exercise before and stopped. Maybe pain slowed you down. Maybe life got in the way. Maybe you simply lost the belief that improvement was still possible. None of that matters anymore. What matters is what you choose to do next. And your next step does not have to be dramatic. Your next step can be as simple as standing up from your chair 5 times today with care and intention, and taking your creatine gummies with your morning glass of water. I have seen people in their 70s and even their 80s who could barely stand from a chair without using both hands. Within just a few weeks of combining consistent movement with proper cellular fuel, they were standing up smoothly, walking with more confidence, and feeling more capable in their bodies than they had in years. This is not about becoming an athlete. This is about protecting your freedom. Your freedom to carry your own groceries. Your freedom to climb your own stairs. Your freedom to get up from the floor if you need to. Your freedom to live on your own terms, for as long as possible. You are not broken. You are not too old. Your body is adaptive. It wants to grow stronger. But it can only respond to the signals you give it. And this simple combination, a daily strength movement and the right cellular fuel, gives your body the clearest possible signal that strength is still required. If this video has helped you, please take 1 second to tap the like button right now. It truly helps this channel reach more seniors who need this message. Subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you never miss a new video. And leave a comment below, tell me your age and how many chair squats you are going to try today. I read every single one. The link for FusiForce creatine gummies is in the description. Check their published lab reports. You have nothing to lose and a great deal of strength to gain. Your age does not define your strength. Your past does not limit your future. And it is never too late to become stronger than you were yesterday. I will see you in the next video. Stay strong. Dr. Wells. Did you know that you do not have to cut out carbohydrates to fix your blood sugar? In fact, the fastest and most sustainable way to lower your blood sugar is actually more about adding foods to your life, not eliminating entire food groups. And I have seen this work firsthand. I have worked with hundreds of patients who turned their numbers around in just days by adding these specific foods to their daily routine. And not just temporarily, they are still keeping their sugars low, without medications, for months and even years. So today I am going to show you how to use each of these 10 powerful foods to fully optimize your body chemistry and reverse insulin resistance at the cellular level. And then I am going to share one additional piece, something that almost no blood sugar video ever mentions, that protects your muscles while you fix your diet. Because here is the truth that most people miss: when blood sugar is unstable, your muscles are the first thing your body begins to break down for fuel. And for anyone over 60, that muscle loss is something we cannot afford to ignore. Before I get into the first food, do me a quick favor. If you want more videos that explain the why behind your body instead of just handing you a pill, please hit subscribe, give this video a like, and leave me a comment telling me what your morning fasting blood sugar number was this week. I read every single comment. And the age and numbers of this community genuinely shape what I cover next. So let's get into it. My name is Dr. Wells, and I want to start by explaining the one thing that almost no one explains to you in a 12-minute office visit. High blood sugar almost always starts upstream, with a hormone called insulin. Insulin is the hormone that unlocks your cells so that glucose, the sugar in your blood, can get out of your bloodstream and into the cell where it belongs. When you have spent years riding the blood sugar roller coaster, your cells stop answering the door. The insulin knocks and knocks, and the cell stays shut. We call that insulin resistance. Your pancreas pumps out more and more insulin to compensate. Your blood sugar climbs anyway. And the standard medical response is a prescription that pushes even more insulin into a system that is already overwhelmed. The system generates revenue when you stay sick. Not when you get well. That is economics, not malice. And there is simply no time in a short office visit to teach you how food talks directly to your insulin receptors. That is exactly what I am going to do right now. Every one of these 10 foods does one of 3 specific jobs inside your body. It slows the sugar coming in, so your pancreas never has to panic. It cools the inflammation that is keeping your cells deaf to insulin. Or it wakes the insulin receptor back up so your own body does the work it was designed to do. You do not have to do all 10 tomorrow. Add them in over the next 2 weeks and stack them. Let me show you food number 1. Food number 1 is fenugreek seeds. These are small, hard, amber-colored seeds, and you can find them in the spice aisle of almost any grocery store for just a couple of dollars. If you walk past this one because it sounds exotic, you are walking past one of the most powerful blood sugar tools on the shelf. Here is what fenugreek does inside you. The seed is packed with a soluble fiber called galactomannan. When it hits the water in your stomach, it swells into a thick gel that physically slows how fast your stomach empties carbohydrates into your small intestine. Slower emptying means the sugar trickles into your blood instead of flooding it. No flood means no giant spike and no panic dump of insulin. Fenugreek also carries an amino acid that nudges your pancreas to release insulin more efficiently and helps your muscle cells take up glucose. To use it, soak 1 teaspoon of whole seeds in a glass of water overnight. In the morning, drink the water and eat the softened seeds before breakfast. Start with a small amount. This fiber is powerful and your gut needs a few days to adjust. Food number 2 is cinnamon. You almost certainly already have it in your cupboard. But here is the critical detail most people miss: the type of cinnamon matters enormously. The common grocery store cinnamon is cassia, and it carries a compound called coumarin that can be hard on your liver in large daily doses. The one you want is Ceylon cinnamon, sometimes labeled true cinnamon. It is milder, safer for daily use, and the one I recommend to my own patients. What makes Ceylon cinnamon work is a group of polyphenol that behave almost like insulin themselves. They help your insulin receptors grip glucose more tightly and slow your stomach from emptying too fast after a meal. Research out of the USDA Human Nutrition Program found that under half a teaspoon a day measurably lowered fasting glucose in adults with type 2 diabetes. Use about 1/4 to half a teaspoon a day, stirred into your oatmeal, coffee, or smoothie. Food number 3 is broccoli sprouts, and I need you to pay close attention here because this one is the most underused food in this entire video. Not full-grown broccoli. The little 3-day-old sprouts. Ignore that distinction and you miss almost all the benefit. Broccoli sprouts contain a compound called sulforaphane, and the sprouts hold between 50 and 100 times more of it than mature broccoli. Sulforaphane does something none of the other foods on this list do quite as directly: it goes to your liver and quiets down the overnight glucose factory. Your liver makes sugar while you sleep, and in insulin resistance. It makes far too much, which is why so many people wake up with a high fasting number they cannot explain. A small handful on a salad or sandwich most days is plenty. Do not cook them hard, eat them raw or barely wilted. Food number 4 is avocado. Most people think of it as a fat to avoid because of the calories, and that fear is costing them. The fat in an avocado is monounsaturated fat, the same family as olive oil, and it is one of the most blood sugar-friendly things you can put on a plate. That healthy fat and the fiber inside an avocado slow your entire meal down. When you add half an avocado to a plate of rice or toast, you are not removing the carbohydrate, you are putting a brake on how fast it turns into blood sugar. The glucose climbs gently instead of spiking. Half an avocado a day is a sensible amount. Put it on your eggs in the morning, mash it onto whole grain toast, or add it to a salad that already has starch in it. Food number 5 is chia seeds. These tiny gray and black seeds punch far above their size. Chia is one of the richest sources of soluble fiber you can buy. When it meets the water in your stomach, it forms the same thick gel we talked about with fenugreek, wrapping around the carbohydrates in your meal and slowing their absorption to a crawl. The sugar releases slowly and steadily, so you avoid the spike and crash that leaves you shaky and hungry an hour later. Chia also carries a plant-based omega-3 fat that helps calm the low-grade inflammation sitting underneath insulin resistance. 1 to 2 tablespoons a day does the job, stirred into yogurt, dropped into a glass of lemon water, or blended into a smoothie. Food number 6 is fatty fish, salmon and mackerel specifically. This one works on the deeper problem, the reason your cells went deaf to insulin in the first place. Insulin resistance is driven in large part by chronic inflammation. When your body is quietly inflamed year after year, that inflammation physically interferes with the insulin signal at the surface of the cell. Salmon and mackerel are loaded with EPA and DHA, the most powerful natural anti-inflammatory compounds we know of. They lower the inflammatory signals, the cell membrane gets healthier, and the insulin receptor starts working the way it was designed to. Aim for 2 servings a week, about the size of your palm each time. Wild salmon, mackerel, sardines, and herring are all excellent choices. Food number 7 is walnuts. Of all the nuts, this is the one I direct my patients to first. Walnuts are rich in polyunsaturated fat and plant omega-3, which improves the health of the lining inside your blood vessels, one of the first things high blood sugar damages. The fat, fiber, and protein in walnuts blunt the rise in blood sugar after a meal and have been shown to lower fasting insulin. Eat a small handful as a snack, about a quarter cup or 7 to 10 whole walnuts, raw or dry roasted, not the candied or honey-coated variety. Food number 8 is eggs, whole eggs, yolk included. For years people were told the yolk was the enemy, and that advice pushed people toward sugary breakfast cereals that were far worse for blood sugar. Let me set that straight. A whole egg is almost pure protein and fat with virtually no carbohydrate, which means it barely moves your blood sugar on its own. But the real magic is what researchers call the second meal effect. When you start your day with eggs instead of toast or cereal, you steady your blood sugar not just at breakfast but all the way through to lunch. 2 to 3 whole eggs in the morning is a solid target, scrambled, boiled ahead for the week, or folded in with some spinach. Add the avocado from food number 4 right on top, and you have built a near-perfect blood sugar breakfast. Food number 9 is apple cider vinegar, and this one has the fastest visible effect on a glucose meter of anything on this list. If you have a meter at home, you can watch this one work tonight. The active ingredient is acetic acid. It slows your stomach from emptying and helps your muscles pull glucose out of your blood and use it as fuel. Research led by Dr. Carol Johnston at Arizona State University found that 1 tablespoon of vinegar before a carbohydrate meal lowered the post-meal blood sugar spike by 20 to 30% in people with insulin resistance. That is a drug-sized effect from something that costs a few dollars a bottle. Take 1 tablespoon diluted in a full glass of water, 10 to 15 minutes before a carbohydrate meal. Always dilute it, never drink it straight. And food number 10 is lentils. Lentils are a carbohydrate, and they will lower your blood sugar. Here is how: Lentils are built from a slow carbohydrate called resistant starch wrapped in soluble fiber and plant protein. That combination means the glucose releases into your blood slowly over hours instead of all at once. They also carry the second meal effect. A bowl of lentil soup at lunch gives you steadier blood sugar into the evening. Swapping white rice or white potato for lentils a few times a week is one of the most reliable ways I know to bring down an A1C. Aim for half a cup to 1 cup of cooked lentils several times a week. Now I want to talk about something that sits directly at the intersection of blood sugar and muscle health, and it is something almost no blood sugar video ever addresses. But for anyone over 60, this matters enormously. Here is what happens when blood sugar stays elevated over time. Your body enters a state of chronic cellular stress. And one of the first systems to suffer is your muscle tissue. High blood sugar drives inflammation, and that inflammation makes your muscles resistant to the signals that tell them to maintain their strength and size. This is one of the hidden reasons why people with blood sugar problems tend to experience accelerated muscle loss. And as muscle mass falls, insulin resistance actually gets worse, because muscle is your body's primary tissue for absorbing and using glucose. It becomes a dangerous cycle. High blood sugar destroys muscle, and less muscle makes blood sugar harder to control. This is where creatine enters the picture in a way most doctors never mention. Creatine monohydrate is a compound found naturally in your muscle cells, and its primary job is to help your muscles regenerate ATP, the energy currency your cells use for every single contraction, every movement, every step. After the age of 50, your body's natural creatine stores begin to decline. By 60 or 70, your muscles are often running at a real cellular energy deficit. Now here is what the science shows specifically about creatine and blood sugar in older adults. Research has found that creatine supplementation, particularly when combined with resistance exercise, can improve insulin sensitivity in muscle cells. In other words, creatine helps your muscle cells respond better to insulin, which is exactly the mechanism you are working to restore with these 10 foods. These two approaches work together, not against each other. The foods reduce the inflammation that is blocking the insulin signal. The exercise builds the muscle tissue that absorbs glucose. And the creatine fuels both of those processes at the cellular level. Additionally, creatine has been shown in peer-reviewed studies to support cognitive function in older adults. Sharper focus, better mental stamina, and reduced mental fatigue, especially under stress. And when you are working to change your diet and your lifestyle, having that mental clarity makes everything else more sustainable. I want to tell you about a patient. I will call her Donna. 63 years old, recently retired, came to me frightened because her fasting sugar was sitting around 180, and her doctor had just told her it was time to add a second medication. We did not cut her carbohydrates to nothing. We added eggs and avocado in the morning instead of cereal. A tablespoon of vinegar before her bigger meals. Lentils swapped in for white rice. Walnuts instead of her afternoon cookie. Fatty fish twice a week. Cinnamon in her coffee. And broccoli sprouts on her sandwich at lunch. We also supported her muscle health with consistent creatine supplementation and gentle resistance exercise 3 times a week. Within the first week, her fasting numbers started dropping. Within 3 months, working alongside her own doctor, she had come off that second medication entirely, and her A1C had moved from the diabetic range back toward normal. 2 years later, it has held. She did not starve herself. She ate more food, just the right food, and she protected her muscles while her body healed. And her own body did the rest. Now, I want to talk specifically about the creatine product I recommend for seniors, because this is an area where the market is genuinely full of products that do not do what they claim. Here is something that shocked me when I first researched this. A major independent investigation found that 67% of creatine gummies on the market contain virtually no creatine, at least not after they have been cooked. The reason is that creatine breaks down into a useless byproduct called creatinine when exposed to high heat during the gummy manufacturing process. Most brands test their creatine before cooking and put those numbers on the label. After cooking, the creatine is largely gone. You are buying candy. The brand that solved this problem is FusiForce, made by Wellness Nest. What FusiForce did was spend 10 months perfecting a manufacturing process that preserves creatine through the cooking process, and then they verify it by sending every single batch to Eurofins, one of the world's most respected food safety and nutrition labs, after cooking. Not before. After. And they publish every certificate of analysis publicly. Every batch. Nothing hidden. The result is 99% pure creatine monohydrate. 5,000 milligrams, the full clinical dose, in just 3 gummies. That is the dose studied in hundreds of peer-reviewed trials. Not 0.5 grams. Not 2 grams. The real, complete, verified 5-gram dose your muscles need. And FusiForce adds something that no other creatine gummy on the market includes: 50 milligrams of Panax ginseng root extract, standardized to 10% ginsenosides. This matters enormously for seniors because ginsenosides are the active compounds in Panax ginseng that support sustained energy, reduce fatigue, and support cognitive function. For someone managing blood sugar and working to rebuild their strength, the combination of verified creatine and standardized ginseng is genuinely powerful. The gummies are free of gluten, soy, seed oils, fillers, hormones, casein, whey, and added sugar. They come in individual serving pouches, not a sticky bulk jar, so each serving stays fresh. They are NSF certified for sport. And they come with a 90-day money-back guarantee. If you want to look at their published lab reports before you decide, the link is in the description below. I encourage you to check them. A company willing to show you every test result from every batch has nothing to hide. That transparency is rare in this industry, and it is exactly what seniors deserve. Here is what to do starting tonight. 5 simple steps. 1. Tomorrow morning, replace your cereal or toast with 2 to 3 whole eggs and half an avocado. That single breakfast swap changes your blood sugar for the entire day. 2. Tonight, soak a teaspoon of fenugreek seeds in a glass of water and drink it first thing in the morning. 3. Buy Ceylon cinnamon, not cassia, and start with a 1/4 teaspoon a day in your coffee or oatmeal. 4. Before your biggest carbohydrate meal tomorrow, take 1 tablespoon of apple cider vinegar diluted in a full glass of water, 15 minutes before you eat. 5. This week, swap white rice or white potato for lentils at least twice. Put fatty fish on the menu 2 nights. And begin your creatine routine, 3 FusiForce gummies a day. Every day, consistently. Within 2 weeks you should notice more energy during movement, more resilience in your legs, and a clearer head throughout the day. One important medical note before I close. If you are currently on insulin or a blood sugar medication, these foods, and especially consistent exercise, can lower your blood sugar powerfully enough that your medication dose may suddenly be too strong. Please work with your doctor to monitor your numbers as you make these changes. Do not stop any prescription on your own. Bring this list to your next appointment and discuss it together. Now, everything we covered today brings your sugar down during the day and after your meals. But I know many of you have told me the same strange thing: your highest reading of the day is first thing in the morning, before you have eaten a single bite. You fasted all night and your sugar went up anyway. There is a specific reason your liver does that while you sleep, and there is a way to address it. I made a dedicated video explaining exactly what is happening overnight and how to wake up to a lower number. I will put it right here on the screen. Go watch that one next, and I will see you there. Stay strong. Take care of those muscles. Your body is worth fighting for.